Welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for joining. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for watching. We're doing a super easy everyday makeup routine because every day you don't want to spend 85,000 steps on your makeup, and I get that. So I got you. This is a really simple routine that'll get you together in, not like 2 minutes, but in not a lot of time. We're starting with the Cover FX mattifying primer. This is probably my favorite primer of all time. I mean, that I've tried thus far. I've tried others, but I always go back to this one. After I apply my primer, I do like to take a damp beauty blender and pick up any excess. And I did forget to wet my sponge, so I'm just gonna hit it with a little Evian water spray. This is one of my go-tos I always have on my vanity, because you never know when you need a little water, and it's fun to spray. I mean, let's be honest, it's really why I got it, is because it's fun to spray. Okay, so now I'm just going to pick up any excess. My beauty blender isn't super wet. Like, I would use more water if I was going to use it for real, but it's damp enough to get this done. We're going to go in with the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation and Concealer, and if you've seen my last video, this is one of my new obsessions. I absolutely love this product, and we're just going to use it to spot conceal. So because I'm not doing full glam, I'm not going to do foundation. I just kind of want to perfect any areas where, we could use a little touch up. So usually for me, that's my cheek area. I have some darkness here on this side as well. In this area here, like, I just have some just random darkness that I like to cover, and a little on my forehead. I'm really just gonna go in like the center of my forehead. And that's gonna keep it pretty natural looking versus, doing all foundation. And with this, I'm just gonna tap it in with a concealer brush. And once I get the coverage to where I want it, I'll go back in and smooth out the line so that there's not a harsh line there. And now I have the coverage where I want it. So I'm just gonna use my brush and just gently blend out those edges so it's more seamless. You can't really tell where it starts and where it stops. Now that we have that on, I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. Putty. It's upside down. The e.l.f. Putty blush, and this is the shade Fiji, which is kind of like an orangish red. And I'm gonna apply this with my fingers. And usually when I apply my blush, I like to put it kind of in between the hollow and in between the highlight. But because I'm actually not going to do any contouring, so like no shading in there, I'm just gonna apply it more so towards the apple of my cheek. So I'm just gonna tap it in and tap some on this side. And once I've got the color on there, I'm just gonna wipe off the excess on my finger because I don't want to pack more on, and just blend it on out with my fingers. And this blends out really nicely. I really do like these blushes. They're only $6, so you can't beat that price. And the finish on them is just really nice. Like, you can see there's no real shine there, it's just color. And I always put on powder after my cream blush. So even if I'm a little heavy-handed with it, it'll even out. So it's not gonna look like this once it's set, because the powder is gonna add a little color on top of it, and it gives it more of a natural finish to me. And why not give a little nose flush, give a little forehead flush with the extra, just bringing some color into the face. I'm using the Pat McGrath concealer in shade MD22. This is more of a natural shade for me, so if I like to have a more highlighted look, I'll go for MD21, and this one gives me kind of a little more natural lift without being too highlighted. So it's perfect for like a lighter day for me. And I'm only gonna use a tiny bit, so I'm gonna do 2 tiny dots under my eyes, and I'm gonna just focus it right directly on the under eye area, so I'm not gonna bring it all the way down like you might do if you're highlighting. I mean, I don't even really bring it that far down for highlighting. Usually highlighting for me goes to here, and I'm just going to be like slightly with a smaller triangle. And I'm just going to blend it out with a concealer brush. And I really just like to tap this concealer in. It works really well just tapping versus sweeping. And I'm also going to take any excess on my brush up to the lid, just so it's, you know, uniform, and it gives a nice base for eye products. And you can see this has like a pretty natural finish. It's not doing a lot, it's doing just enough. And I'm going to set it with the Pat McGrath under eye powder, and I'm just using an angled brush and tapping that onto the concealer. And then I'm going to go ahead and just sweep it across. And that's it for the face. Just a little concealer, a little blush, and a little, well, I guess that was also concealer. So a little concealer, and blush. And we're going to set everything with the Cover FX mattifying setting powder. And I'm using a big fluffy brush. And really we're just setting that concealer and taking down the blush just a little bit with the setting powder. And I also like to go in with a dusting of powder foundation. So I'm using the Cover FX powder foundation and the same brush. And I'm just going to do a dusting of that all over. And that's just really going to help in any areas that we covered, just to make sure that we've got some nice coverage there. I'm using Benefit Give Me Brow, and my eyebrows are microbladed, so I don't really have to do a lot to them, thank the Lord. But I am gonna hit them with a little brow gel just because we use powder to make sure that they still look there. So I'm just brushing this through lightly, just to bring back any color I lost when I applied the powder. To add a little glow, I'm going in with the Hourglass Ambient Light in Dim Light, and I'm using a small, sort of fluffy brush, and I'm just gonna place this on the high points, so right at the top of my cheekbone on both sides. And I like this because it's not too shimmery. It's a really natural highlight for me. I like to do like right in the forehead area as well. And then from here, you can add more highlight if you want to. I think that this gives like a nice natural glow. Sometimes I do add an additional highlighter, sometimes I don't. It really just depends on the mood. For the eyes, I'm using the Tom Ford Cream and Powder Eye Color Duo in Golden Peach. This was sent to me by influencer to review, so I don't know if I would have purchased this on my own. I haven't tried it out yet, so we're gonna explore it together. You open it up and there's a cream pot in there. Excuse the plastic falling out. And you open the lid. Oh, it's a little hard to open. Okay, open the lid and then there's a powder. So since it's a cream, I think I'm going to start with an eyeliner. Again, we're keeping things soft and easy, so I am going to use a dark brown eyeliner. This one's from Ulta Beauty, and it's the shade Matte Brown. And instead of applying, like where I would typically apply a powder eyeshadow to kind of give some depth, I'm going to use the eyeliner pencil in that way. So I'm going to start in the corner. I kind of like the shape to go up this way. I like to have some depth here. So I'm basically just sketching out where I like to have that like deeper color when I do my eyeshadow. And then I'm just going to lightly and nonsensically basically fill that in. It looks crazy, but it's gonna look okay, I think, because I haven't done this before. All right, and I'm just gonna take my finger and blend this. This blends really great too. And this pencil was fairly cheap. I mean, I think sometimes we overlook store brands, but I mean, look at that. That's just using my finger. Usually I would use my finger for the cream shadow, but because I do want it to kind of go into this little area in here, I am gonna use a brush just so that it's easier. Sometimes it's hard to fit my finger there. This is really creamy. Like when I'm tapping it in here, it's very creamy. It's almost like a whipped cream kind of texture. All right, and I'm just going to brush this across. And I am going to press it in with my finger just so that's not so harsh. All right, so let me press this in and blend it over. It's blending really nicely. I mean, I like it so far. Now, the one thing that I would like to know is the price. I haven't looked it up, but considering it's Tom Ford, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's probably on the pricier end. And I don't know if I would pay what they're probably selling it for. And I'm just gonna take my finger and just blend out that line just to make sure it's not harsh. And then I'll use a finger in the powder color just to intensify the inner corner. Like, here's the powder color. And it's pretty. I think I've had more pigment from, you know, basic products, but I mean, it's pretty. I'm just gonna press it into the inner corner to add a little extra shimmer. I mean, together these are pretty. I don't know. I'm not completely sold on it. Let's throw on some mascara, and I like to do just a really light coat because I always use a lash, and in this case I'm gonna go with the Ardell Wispy lashes because they're easy, they're basic, and they look good. And I'm gonna finish off with my favorite nude lip combo. So this lipstick is Rouge Artist Natural in N4. It's by Makeup Forever. And it's one of my favorite nude lipsticks. It's kind of like a brownie pink, sort of. It just works. I love it and it works. I line with a NYX lip liner in Espresso and finish off with Pat McGrath Labs Lip Lust in Flesh Fantasy. And last but certainly not least, we're gonna set everything with Milani Make It Last. And that's it. We are done. This certainly took me longer than it usually would because obviously I'm talking and sharing info with you guys, but typically this would take me about 15, maybe 20 minutes at the most. Let me know what you think about this routine and what your everyday makeup routine is like. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. There's a new video every Tuesday and Friday, and I'll see you next time.